Been looking over the words with the readings we had from Luke this morning. I also always like to go back a little bit and see what the pretense going into the scriptures would be. And that's where I came up with, and actually I'll start and begin with the beginning of verse 21. Because he looked up and he saw the rich putting their gifts into the treasury, and he saw a poor widow put in 2 copper coins, and he said, "Truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of them. They all contribute out of their abundance, but she out of her poverty put in all the living that she had." And that goes into what we just read as someone spoke of the temple, how it was adorned with noble stones and offerings. And he said, "As for these things which you see, the day will come, when they shall be not left of them one stone upon another." So there's a difference in perception. What people see and what God sees. And I think a lot of times we too these days get caught up into optical illusions that don't really pertain, or we don't see what's really there. I mean, just simple things like, how many have you seen the spiral that you can't tell by staring at it, it's got to spin one way or another? Or the sketch of the rabbit, or is that a duck? There's another, is it an old woman or a young woman? We were on the subject of cats in the choir this morning. Who's seen that one online where it looks like a crow initially? And here's a cat looking over his shoulder. There's a better one today, more recently I've seen, where there's this white cat sitting, you can see the shadow behind it.
Yeah.
Only they have the cat open its eyes, and then there's a black cat. All of us have had a black cat. Anyways, things aren't always, on the light side, things aren't always what they appear to be. Our eyes can be fooled, at least our worldly eyes can be fooled, to believe what others, and sometimes even ourselves, want to believe. And this is also so very true of our perceptions of faith. And that's why I wanted to go back a little bit and bring in the story of the widow. Now, chapter 21 opens speaking on how this poor widow gave all that she had to the synagogue, while most only gave a pittance, really, of their abundance. And she did so, even though people just seen her as a poor widow, just barely able to get anything. The truth was, she was giving so much because she was giving all of her hope and security into her faith. She was giving her faith her full investment. However, in verse 5 of the same chapter that we're reading from, as we began today, that conversation shifted, and that's where people were saying how splendid the temple was with its ornaments and its noble stones and offerings. And that there was this tendency, they were inspired by the aura of the experience of that building and its splendor. That was what was giving the worshipers this inspiration to partake, for folks to worship there, for folks to give. Well, Jesus was quite quick to point out, or quite quick to set this misperception straight. It's not what makes the structure, the trinkets, the embellishments. It's not what makes up what that does not make up what is the true faith. What we are seeing here, we may be perceiving as such a great thing, this sanctuary, this building. That's what makes it happen. That's what makes it, makes things happen. But what matters most is what is the true splendor. Not the, like I said, not the embellished surroundings that make up your worship. But what is in the true temple of God, what is in you. How is that embellished? How is that invested in your worship and in your devotion? What is truly invested in your soul, your heart? Is it pittance? Like those that had all that great wealth, it looked like they were giving a lot, but it was still just a pittance of who they were giving back to God. They were giving access. Or was it they're full endowment like this poor widow, giving all, her whole life? She made that all an investment with God. And if it is true what Christ said, that there will be not, well, I should say it is true. We should all know that time will destroy all that is that we see around us in this tangible world. This world is fleeting. So it is true what Christ said, there will not be one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. And also later in the readings, he goes on to say, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, do not meditate on how you are to respond ahead of time, how we are to react. Keep your hearts open to God. For your God will, our God will, be with you. If your faith and your investment is complete, He's within you. Will guide you on how to respond. The way this world perceives life, how they dictated to us our pursuit of happiness, the things we have to click off the list if we're successful, that's an illusion. Our pursuit of happiness, our security, prosperity, success, this world is skewed. It's insecure. It's fleeting. It cannot last. But the truth of God, of Jesus, is quite different. Quite different than this world, and how this world tries to depict it. Faith-giving is more about truth of our hearts. It's measured by how we give within, how much are we invested of ourselves. Is it a pittance of our excess, or is it our whole of who we are? It's not just by what is convenient that we place in our offerings. It's how we are truly investing the whole of ourselves. Spirituality is more than can be accomplished, by, and you would think otherwise, but it has to do more than be accomplished by cathedral arches or multimedia splendors. The greatest works of God in Christ, they're happening every day, and by the most meager of means, many times by those we consider the poorest of the poor. For when they give in godly love and compassion, they're giving their all, their own livelihood for others. My 3 girls, I can't believe they're grown, but they are. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of their independence, their strong minds and wills, their passion for the faith, and in their families. Now now Rachel's not here today, and we get to see her as she works with us with her daughter Vi, and it's amazing to see what she's doing with children in her casework. And we know Tess, and why she wants to keep the passion of the farm going, but she wants to. She wants to keep that legacy going, but she's also keep up with the writing, and that's a good thing. Now, I don't talk as much about Beck, my eldest, but she too proves again and again, not my experience, but from the community giving me feedback when we find out who she is, that she's my daughter. That there's this core of giving in her foundation of faith. Now, I want to state, I'm quick to say that I do not always agree with her or any of the two. I always throw that qualifier in there because it's so true. But with Beck in particular, like I said, it's not by her words, but I keep getting these strange stories that come back to me. And they say, oh, that's your dog. I said, yeah, it's Beck. In the community, she is continually going out of her way to help others, even at times at the expense of herself. Tuesdays, there's a market where we're headed now in downtown Greensburg, and there's this little wiry woman with this little push cart, and she does all of her shopping, everything she has to do. She doesn't have a car. She goes trotting around. And Tess and I, if my mom could have still been walking, I think that's where it comes from. But until you hear this woman's mouth, it's like that's all my mom. Anyway, this woman comes in the market, and she always insists, because DDA's right next to us, this little coffee shop. She grabs me an iced tea and brings it to me. And she keeps bringing up about Becca, because randomly one day, I guess she had stooped or fallen, and Becca was just going past her car, stops and scoops her up there, back together. Spent the rest of that morning running her errands, this woman's errands, with her, and takes her home for the day. And Becca had not the time. She's not very good at managing her time at all. But she did have the heart, and really ended up no more worse for the wear. And truly, she was doing God's work. She was doing it that day, and like I said, I'm hearing these little tidbits of other places. And, well, that's it. It's sort of it's not such a heavy example, but still, it's one of those examples. She has proven to be a great aid to many. She has the same the elderly. But she always has an eye to see where someone needs a little extra help. And she just doesn't, she never really, that I know, gets recognition. The point is, though, that she can see with God's eyes. So this is what I want to say. You know, this thing of investing ourselves in our communities, if we want to be the true church of Christ. It isn't just what we're funneling into this so we can show how great our church is. That's not the point. That's what Christ was saying. This is not the point of showing how splendid we are. The point is showing the glory of God in our actions, having God's eye within us to use that investment, not just a pittance, but of our true selves, of the whole of ourselves. To have God's eyes and show to the world the truth that it is to be a Christian. It's not in the splendor or in the recognition. And most of the times, not as the world would want to dictate and predict. But if we are truly believing we can truly be seen, then we can truly be seen and responding as Christ desires for us in godly love. This is the stress. That in our investing in our faith, it's not just giving the pittance of our extra. It's having that, the core of our true self, our endowment. We are considered to be stewards. We've been given a blessing. We're to use it. As the scripture goes, we're not to be arrogant, just waiting to get the backs of it. We're to use it and to expound upon it, to build upon it. But we must be able to receive from our hearts more than we are seeing. with worldly eyes. Amen.